Attorney General Weiser is committed to protecting the people of Colorado, defending the rule of law, and building the Department of Law that serves all Coloradans effectively. Public service is one of Weiser's core values. Previously, Weiser served as professor of law and dean of the University of Colorado Law School, where he founded the Flatiron Center for Law, Technology, and Entrepreneurship. After graduating law school, he worked in Denver for Judge David Abel in the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals and held 2 clerkships for the United States Supreme Court for Justices Byron White and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Attorney General Weiser lives here in Colorado with his wife, Dr. Heidi Wald, and their 2 children. Want to say something?
Okay, so I need to say a little bit something on a very personal level. Bill and I have been friends for a long time, and he is an amazing man. And what I am going to tell you is, you know anything about Tai Chi? He is a true Tai Chi master in the sense of telling those with the Attorney General's office and the things he does. He's just a super, super person. And the reason that we asked him to be here is because he so much really makes people, well, he gets people to believe that we can do good things. The most recent lawsuit, if you didn't hear it, that was announced, is actually trying to keep some of our water here in Colorado. And he's a great guy. He's just an amazing person. So, Bill, I'm going to let you say hi.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Jackie. As I was coming up here, I had a request about what I should talk about. A little human said, "What's he going to talk about?" And I said, "What do you want me to talk about?" And then I asked, "Do you want me to talk about kids?" She said, "Yes, talk about the kids." So let me frame my comments around our kids. Our kids are spending too much time on screens, not enough time in touch with their bodies, not enough time in touch with their spirit. Part of what makes this conference important is elevating a community of practice that is around wellness, that's around awareness, that's around being self-conscious about what your body is telling you. I expect many people in this room have read a book called The Body Keeps the Score. How many people have read that book, The Body Keeps the Score? Part of what the book talks about is how over the course of our lives, we experience different sorts of traumas. And if we're not self-aware, it manifests in other ways, all sorts of potentially destructive behaviors. The body holds onto the trauma. And the challenge for all of us as humans is, how do we achieve more consciousness, mind, body, and spirit? This community of practice is focusing on paths to more consciousness and to better wellness for all of us. And that's why I'm so delighted to be here to kick off what I understand to be the first ever Expo for the Colorado Acupuncture and Herbal Medicine Expo. I know there are a number of hosts here. Let me shout them out. The Colorado Chinese Medicine University, the Chinese Medicine Community Organization, and thank you, Ken Cohen, for thinking about me. I am a real believer that there's all sorts of paths to wisdom that we should continue to seek and honor. And in Colorado, partly because of our natural beauty, partly because of the population we've got here, we're a leader in how we seek to elevate wisdom and consciousness, including traditional holistic practices. And obviously that is very much in the work that you're doing. When you think about wellness and health in Colorado, it's worth putting into context something that came out this week. We as a state have the lowest level of obesity of any state in the union. We've traditionally aspired to be the healthiest state, the state that prioritizes wellness. And to that, I want to add to that mental health. I want us to be experiencing our lives in a way that we're all thriving, as opposed to what happens too often, and I will surely put some blame on social media, that people are more isolated, disconnected, and lonely than ever before. When you think about a broad perspective on health and wellness and mental health, it's also important to be sensitive to health equity and culturally informed approaches to healthcare. One recent report by the Colorado Lotus Project, which works to elevate the voices of the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander community, found that across many health systems, there is a lack of culturally and linguistically responsive providers and approaches that can meet the needs of the AI and HPI community, AA and HPI communities. This is a call for this community to bring your practices, to bring your awareness, and to make sure that our system of medicine is culture responsive and providing people different pathways. I was actually just talking to my wife, who had a very good experience with a physical therapist, and noting that the relationship helping her get to know her body, and she's a doctor, traditional doctor, is too often undervalued. And that's part of the challenge that we're up against, a more holistic, full view of how we help people live their best lives. In Colorado, the good thing is that we are innovators at heart. We're always open to new ideas, trying new things. Obviously, having done the first experiment for marijuana, having psychedelics, and continuing pushing new opportunities and evaluating how can we all live our best lives. Traditional Chinese herbal medicine is a part of an overall landscape that we need. And we don't need to stay limited to traditional models. We can and should be willing to try new approaches. I have to say, often when you think about leaders in government and public policy, there's two basic categories. One is same old, and the other is innovative and creative problem solving. I am firmly in the second. That's how I lead our office, and I think that's what Colorado is all about. I want to mention one other point, which sadly is hard to ignore, which is the situation we're dealing with the federal government right now that's engaging in lawless bullying tactics, including trying to marginalize non-white communities, including trying to say, in their words, that illegal DE&I and talking about equity, talking about different approaches is somehow un-American. This is ass backwards. This is exactly the opposite. America is the land of e pluribus unum. Out of many, we are one. In America, we can and should take pride in the moments that we stand for that principle, and the principle of inclusion is core to who we are. George Washington, when he was president, wrote a letter to a Rhode Island synagogue and said, in America is a land where bigotry has no sanction and none shall be afraid. And then he quoted from the book of Micah and said, everyone should live safely under their own vine and fig tree. I recognize Asian hate has been a real challenge, and there is too much demonization that is on the rise. We need to hold the line here in Colorado, a Colorado for all of us, where all of us need all of us. I know today's program is going to have a lot of both enlightening, enjoyable, and important conversations. It's going to make our state stronger and healthier. I thank you all for your important work and look forward to continued engagement. Thank you very much.